Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our session today. Hope you have had a good conference so far. I am Mamta Narayan, and I run the global product marketing for financial innovations over at PayPal. I have with me John Schulte, who is CIO of Mercantile Bank of Michigan. As many of you probably know, Mercantile Bank of Michigan was one of the first banks to integrate the Pay Anyone product, which is the P2P solution for the financial institutions by PayPal. In today's session, I'll do a quick review of the personal payments opportunity, and then I'll hand it over to John, where he will share his insights on how Mercantile Bank of Michigan leveraged PayPal platform to enable P2P services on the mobile banking channel, as well as what they are doing and what technologies they are using to attract the customers, especially the younger generations. So before we dive into the meat of the presentation, let's quickly review the size of the personal payments opportunity. What really are we talking about here? As Gwen mentioned in a session before, the size of the P2P opportunity is really huge. We all know that US payments market is sized at $10 trillion. A sizable portion of it is P2P payments, which is sized somewhere between $1.5 to $2 trillion. It shouldn't be a surprise that most of these personal payments are actually handled by cash and checks. Those are the two predominant forms of payments which are used when people are trying to do casual payments, which are termed here as P2P payments. So for this $2.5 trillion payment opportunity that we have, what are some of the top use cases? We have identified a few use cases where P2P payments are still underpenetrated by the financial institutions, where financial institutions have a huge opportunity to address and bring those payments back into the financial institutions network. One of the top use cases is the global remittance. Now think about a situation where a person in the US has to send back money back to his family for family support. Currently, there are no easy, electronic, and quick payment solutions that handle this money transfer abroad. We have discussed this situation in our prior sessions also. But the opportunity for the financial institution really here is to offer a cost-effective global money movement solution, which is quick, which is inexpensive. And what are the options that the financial institution has? Using similar product like Pay Anyone, which is offered through PayPal, most of these pain points in the global remittance market can be removed. The second use case, which also is severely underpenetrated, is the casual spending. Take an example of a group of friends going out for dinner, and they have to split their dinner bill. One pays in cash, the other promises to pay in check, and the third person may completely forget to pay for your dinner that you paid for. So really, there is a lot of pain point in not able to settle those kind of payments instantly. So financial institution has another opportunity where they offer solution which can facilitate anytime payments. Whether you are at a restaurant or you are at a garage sale, anytime payments opportunity has a huge market for the financial institutions to address. On the same note, a complex settlement. The other day, I went and bought tickets for a concert, and one person paid me in cash because she was with me. The other promised to pay in check, and the third person, again, I'm still waiting on the payment. So there is a lot of friction when you're trying to settle a group payments. And on the same note, I'll again use the dog walkers example. Seems to be very resonating well with the crowd here. If you have to do one-time payments, if you have to pay your babysitter and gardeners or your accountant, there is no easy way to pay them. It is cash or checks. Cash is, again, These transactions are done offline. The financial institutions have no insight into the spending behavior of the consumers. And when it comes to checks, it is really costly for the financial institutions. It is slow for the sender and receiver, and it could be very unsafe as well. So when we look at these P2P use cases which are not addressed by the financial institutions, and if they try to address these pain points of the consumers through solutions like Pay Anyone, which could be fast, which could be simple, and a lot of transparency in who is the sender and who is the receiver, what the single most beneficial thing to the financial community is that they get a new way to acquire new customers. Because we all know the younger generation are all about speed, all about simplicity and transparency. These are a few things which, if you provide to the customers, you open new doors for getting new kinds of customers on board. And on that note, I will actually have John come over to the stage, and he will take you through many more examples and use case of how they are trying to attract the younger demographics to use the P2P on the mobile channel. John.
Thank you. Still a few people in the room after all these sessions, so it's dwindling, but nice little crowd here, so glad you guys could stick this out. You've heard, if you've been around to any of the other sessions in here, you've heard a lot about why banks are gravitating towards PayPal as a solution to P2P. So I'll try to cover it maybe from a little different perspective about why Mercantile did it. It's very similar to some of the other things you've heard, though. Mercantile Bank, we have a limited branch footprint, much like USAA. We have 7 locations. We're a very business-focused bank. And one of the things, when we started our bank about 13 years ago, we knew going into that technology was going to play a big role in the future of banking. And it wasn't necessarily going to be a brick and mortar kind of structure to the banking world. And you see that with Bank of America, shutting down, I think, 13% of their branches. So we knew going in that electronic banking and mobile delivery channels certainly are going to be critical to our future. And we started out talking to Dan and PayPal and our partner at S1 about mobile P2P payments early on, because we saw this as a competitive edge for us. We compete against the large financial institutions. Some of you are probably in the room here. But as a community bank, we want to remain competitive on this electronic channel forefront. And one of the ways we could do that was to beat some of the top providers out there to this solution. So a lot of the bill pay providers and core banking solutions and some of the big banks have closed ecosystems for person-to-person payments. So if you're a consumer out there, you don't necessarily want to log into, if you're receiving funds, you don't want to have to log into Big Bank A or Big Bank B and have to receive those funds. You want to use a service that you already have and know, PayPal, that brings value above and beyond just going there to receive funds. And I think everyone in this room certainly understands the value of having a PayPal account. I could give a speech on that, but you heard a lot of great reasons this morning. One of the reasons I use it is a personal firewall for my personal banking information when I'm purchasing transactions online. That's, I think, an obvious one, but we're seeing more and more reasons to have a PayPal account, which means more and more, hopefully, potential adoption of person-to-person payments for our customers. And so that, leveraging the PayPal brand, expediting the availability of funds, and tapping into the existing PayPal user base, that was kind of the no-brainer, duh part of the decision. We didn't spend much time thinking about who are the people what we needed to talk to. We very quickly targeted PayPal, and I didn't call anybody else besides Dan. So that was kind of a no-brainer decision for us. And you've heard, there's no one in this room that doesn't have a smartphone. I can almost guarantee it. I would put money on it, but given the tech savviness of this crowd. But that's what really has brought critical mass to mobile person-to-person payments. versus maybe 2 or 3 years ago. The ubiquity of the smartphone obviously creates that opportunity for person-to-person payments. For us, I know there were some questions earlier sessions about different bank strategies, different card strategies about how you deliver this service. Do you charge? Is it a fee income opportunity? For us, it's about bringing in younger customers. Because we're a business-focused bank, we tend to skew higher, more of an older crowd to our customer base. And we as a bank had to decide how are we going to target a younger banking customer base. And this is one way that we hope to do it. Because we're one of the ones on the forefront of launching this, we decided that charging our customers was really not a good idea for this. We wanted to make this free to increase adoption and also to use it as a draw to bring in customers. Because every time one of our customers uses P2P to pay somebody, it's an opportunity that they're actually selling Mercantile Bank. So if I'm sitting here sending Catherine or somebody a payment, what I'm doing is because they're going to ask, well, how are you doing it? Well, I'm sending it. The Mercantile Bank's using PayPal. They trust PayPal. Hopefully they trust Mercantile Bank, but they do trust PayPal, and they know how PayPal works. And most people have a PayPal account that we tend to run into. So, in the other side of it, it is very much a lower transaction cost for the bank compared to checks. We also do the ATM fee reimbursement that USAA does. So at $3 reimbursement to a customer to go get cash. Checks typically cost, even with imaging, it's still around $1 a transaction. I will tell you that it's much less than that to process a mobile P2P transaction. I don't know if I got the same great deal as USAA did, but I'll talk to them later about how Dan treated them. So. And again, promoting and acquiring customers. This was our goal with launching mobile P2P. We want to position our bank as a technology leader, attract that younger customer base who are future core depositors, and attract the tech-savvy business owners in our existing customer base. And we have I have some quotes being kind of on the front lines of this. We are live. We've been live since mid-2010. I think around middle of May we went live with this service. So it's been in use about 6 months now. We launched on the iPhone with an iPhone app, and we also have the WAP browser-based version to expand our device coverage. But since then, we've also rolled out Android and BlackBerry skins. We're also having an iPad app specifically in beta testing, although the iPhone app obviously works on the iPad. It will be certainly nice to have a little more customized version of that. Our friends at S1 are working on that right now. And then there's a desktop P2P widget that we're also looking to get integrated into our online banking application. We felt the real opportunity, though, here for the usage cases, desktop P2P is great if you're sitting at your desk, but most of the time the use cases that you see and you've seen in other presentations, those come up when you're out and about. You just have your cell phone. You don't have cash. You don't have a checkbook. I don't even own a checkbook. So that's where we felt really the opportunity was. So we are up and live. What I'm going to do is invite anyone who wants to stick around here after the presentation. Me and Dan got money to give away, I think. So we'll try and. But these are some screens from our live application. One of the challenges in doing a presentation is our friends at Apple do not allow iPads to connect to projectors. I could show you Netflix. I just can't show you our mobile application if I connected to the projector here. So, but if anyone wants to stick around and see how this works, it's similar to what you've seen in other presentations today, but this is live and working. Pay to email, pay to mobile number, pay to an international number. You get your payment history. You get the PayPal branding, which is nice. And it's just simply entering the mobile phone number or the email, the amount, and a reference. So, and then you get the confirmation. The recipient gets the text message or the email that's alerting them that they've received funds. It's instantaneously in their PayPal account if they have an existing PayPal account. If they don't have a PayPal account, they just have to go in and tell PayPal where they want the money to go or how they want the money to be used. The nice thing is with PayPal being accepted in so many places now, You know, I could literally send Dan a payment right now. In 2 seconds, you know, after he receives the payment, he could be out surfing on Amazon, buying something, or shopping on eBay, or buying money from many of the merchants in this room, or the merchants that you work with as developers. So the expediting of funds is really very, very nice with this solution. So again, anyone who wants to stick around after questions, we'll give you an incentive to, you know, beer money for tonight. Talk a little bit about our experience with the platform and how we've done with it. And again, we're about a $1.7 billion bank. We're not Citibank. We're not Bank of America or Chase. So keep that in mind with the numbers here. But again, a younger, more aggressive community bank out there trying to make an impression on our customers. We feel we're doing pretty well with it. We focused first. And that's a mouthful. Focus first internally, and employees we were really keen on getting our employees using this service first, because once they get it, then they're off and running with being able to talk to customers about it. Again, the best way to talk to your customers about this is to send them money. We do it all the time. We take our commercial lenders take customers out to lunch, and it's really nice for them to whip out a BlackBerry or an iPhone and show a business customer, here, let me send you some money. Let me send you $10 here for lunch. And that's the best way to show off this product to someone who kind of is maybe sitting there and doesn't really get it, is to just show them how it works and walk them through it. So we knew once we got our employees on board and using it, we'd have much better chance of getting the word out to everyone in our customer base. And we also did some things that I'll talk about in a minute here to get the word out beyond our customer base too. One of the interesting byproducts of that is we have some you talk about theoretical case studies and usage cases that are out there. We have two commercial lenders in our bank. They live together. I don't know how they get along with each other, but they live together, and all of their household expenses they pay back and forth using mobile P2P. And these guys, one goes out buy beer, groceries, the other one pays them via mobile P2P. They lose money playing cards to each other. The other one, and I see the reports, I see these transactions going back and forth, and I just think it's kind of funny that they've built out so many use cases for paying each other. I just see them using it on a daily basis, and that is one of the things that we have learned, is that the power once somebody's really comfortable using the service, is they tend to use it a lot. The power users really get into it, and they use it a lot. They see the value, and those two commercial lenders are the best ones, because they pay each other for all kinds of things. And I read the little memos, and I give them a hard time once in a while, but they're fun to always tease. So once we got our employees comfortable, then we started to see some liftoff with the transaction growth. 34% growth in August and September, month over month. That was the largest since our launch. So we really started to see things start to take off here at the end of the summer. It's been a steady growth pattern since go live in terms of number of transactions. So you can see, at least in our numbers, a really positive growth trend there. Dollar volume, we saw some interesting things. 50% growth rates month over month in June and July, and then we saw a little dip in August, but September rebounded after that. This is where, in our experience, and this is probably maybe not surprising if you think about it intuitively, the transaction volume will be up and down. There's some volatility in the dollar amount, especially if you have one or two large transactions in a month, it'll skew the numbers. What we've done, and this has come up, I think, in a couple presentations before, and I thought it might be nice to touch on this. From a risk management standpoint, we, of course, put dollar limits, daily dollar limits. There's all kinds of controls that S1 built in, PayPal built in, to allow us to limit the dollar amounts and the velocity and all the things that a customer can do with this product. And when the subject of risk management comes up about P2P and people get really scared about, wow, this is going to be scary from a risk standpoint, I just try to remind them, well, look at debit cards. How many of you have lost a debit card? Somebody has. I'm sure there's somebody, you don't have to raise your hand, but you know what that experience is like. You leave it at a gas station or something like that. Someone can walk away with that card, and there'll literally be moments, later at the mall shopping with before you even know it's gone. There's no password protection on a debit card. The dollar limits are actually higher than what our P2P product is. They're both covered from a regulatory standpoint by Reg E. If you're familiar, if you're a banker in the room, you know what Reg E is all about. So I try to compare it to a debit card because I think from a risk management standpoint, mobile P2P has a lot of advantages over a card product. And I will notice my cell phone being lost 10 times quicker than I will my debit card being lost. I have a password protection on my BlackBerry and my iPad, and then I have we have password and device authentication risk controls on the devices themselves. So, yeah, if you lose it, and you can, there is risk there, but you're not going to miss your cell phone for a week. And if you did miss your cell phone for a week, somebody maybe racked up $500 a day in transactions, and we catch it, and under Reg E, we protect our customers. We would reimburse the customer once they reported it, but that's less than we would typically find in a fraud situation if you compared it to a debit card. So I just wanted to give a little different flavor on kind of the risk management aspect of this. And here's where we really saw some nice things. We wanted P2P to help drive further adoption of mobile banking. And this is where we really saw some uplift since our launch. We've had some really nice growth rates, 32% growth rates since we launched P2P, and we've doubled our users of mobile banking since last year at that time. So it really has helped drive. I can't tell you exactly how much of that growth rate was driven by P2P, but given the amount of promotion that we did and the amount of discussions with customers, I know it's a pretty big chunk of that was driven by P2P. So some other things that we did, when you're targeting a younger generation, I'm on the older side of Generation X. I'm not even sure what the boundaries are for Generation Y, but all we're talking about here is targeting a younger demographic, future customers in banking. We wanted to do a number of different things. Social media was a big part of our campaigns, and you can see how some of that was integrated into this. We had a whole advertising campaign that took on different personas of typical customers and how they do banking. And these are real customers, and we had video. Video is important, certainly when you're doing any sort of online promotion. I think it's easier to get the points you want to make across using video online. We created a YouTube channel for some of these stories, including P2P usage. We really expanded our outreach and communication on Facebook and Twitter and other mobile sites. We tried to make this very prominent on our homepage, and we created a custom microsite for our mobile application. So what you see there, and if you go out to merckmobilebanking.com, is you see videos with voiceover walking people through. It's almost like a live demonstration, as good as you can get on the web, basically, showing a customer how mobile banking works and how especially the mobile P2P works. So what's next? We want to keep the momentum building. We want to keep expanding the functionality. We want to get different things like the bump features. And I was taking notes during this morning's sessions. I got a whole bunch of things I'm going to ask Dan for after the session here that we want to make sure that we're going to get to in our application. So we love what we have here. We love what our customers have been saying about us with it. These are some of the lessons learned in the summary. Online video promotion, get those power users out there selling it for you. And Generation Y, they just get it. PayPal's ubiquitous among them. We talked to college students. We were on campuses, and they really just get it. And there's lots of experimenters out there, people who will try it and may not be a big user of it, but they may use it once every 6 months. Some customer testimonials. I'm not going to read these, but we talked to everybody from business owners to college students who were, when we were out talking to them, we got a lot of Twitter comments from them because we were doing demonstrations, actually sending college students money, walking them through the application. The 20-year-old said they've used it. Everybody I've talked to that's used it, I've picked some random samples amongst the transactions I've seen come through since we went live, has had good things to say about it. We've gotten some great comments on the App Store, the Apple Store, all 5-star ratings. We have 6 ratings, but I'll take that. They're all 5 stars, so we can still say we're perfect. But the opportunity is there. I think you're going to hear that all day tomorrow. The product is really what we have here. We feel is right for tapping that opportunity, and it's not that hard to go after that younger audience with this because they will just get it. You just have to reach them with the right message and with the right methodology. So, with that, I will open up for questions and invite Mom to back up, and be happy to try and answer anything that anybody wants to ask. So. Oh, okay. Dan, come on up. Yep. I got questions for Dan if nobody has any questions. So.
These would be Q&A for the day.
All right.
How are you evaluating new technologies like Bump? What is your evaluation process?
I hate to say it, but a lot of it's gut feel. Are customers going to use this? Is this going to enhance the usability of the product? What are the risks involved with it? Can it get done from a technical perspective? I have to, work with our partners at S1 and talk to PayPal and see if they're willing to do it and at what price. But there's definitely a process. But those are kind of the things I would think about. Oh, I'm sorry. I should be looking at you. You have the mic, so.
I was trying to find out who you were picking.
Oh,
From the bank's perspective, there are several large multinational companies offering P2P services, such as Visa International, MasterCard. So had you considered those options before picking PayPal or not?
When I was thinking about this, it was 2 years ago, they did not have options. They hadn't announced anything. Now that I've seen what they've rolled out, my personal opinion, I'm just not as impressed. I think PayPal has the leadership in this space. A good example of that is one of our branch administrators is British, has a brother over in Britain, and he regularly sends money actually to his brother who has an account in France, but he lives in Britain, and they got all kinds of money flowing back and forth to each other. I don't know if they're gambling on soccer matches or what, but it works. It works, and it's neat to see that. So I'd rather, I guess, stick with something that I know. Stick with it. I know it works. I know PayPal has the international presence to probably is good or better than what the card networks have, from what I can tell personally. So, next question.
We have a question over here.
Thank you. You had mentioned earlier on you support WAP as well. You didn't make any mention of SMS. Do you do any sorts of alerts?
I'm sorry. Yes, we do. We have a full SMS capability. We don't do P2P through SMS, but we have S1 has a mobile banking application that short commands like B for balance, T for transfer, those type of things. We do have full SMS text capability. We just don't have P2P as built in as part of that.
So across those 3 channels, what led you to the downloadable?
The downloadable?
Yeah.
The device usage of our customer base. But basically, we're seeing more and more customers having the fancier smartphones. Interesting anecdote to that. If you ever go, a lot of you probably have college-age kids. When we went out to college campuses, this hits the Generation Y. Freshman girls in college have the best phones. They have the nicest phones. It's like a status symbol. But they just, oh my gosh, I didn't see a single one of them without the latest and greatest. They all had iPhone 4s, Freshman guys, they have the worst phones. They look like the dog chewed them. I mean, some of them are using flip phones from 5 or 6 years ago, like a hand-me-down from their older brother. Somewhere along the line, though, we talked to some older students, and the older guys get, the more they realize that to keep up with the girls and get, text messaging back and forth, I think they have to upgrade their phones. Just a side note, and just not that generation of kids, but interesting. So, sorry. Hope that answers your question. Yes. Any more questions?
Hey. We know that in the financial services space, it's pretty difficult to transition customers from a no-fee model into a fee-based model. Mm-hmm. So given that you're not charging fees for this, what are the long-term benefits?
Well, the cost reduction, obviously, from if we were doing the ATM reimbursement or the check processing, that factors in. Yeah, it's very hard. We've tried to, I don't know if we've ever transitioned anybody from a free service to a fee-based service, but that's something I think the whole banking industry is challenged with these days. You look at card fee income these days. Has anyone read the Durbin Amendment? Card fee income's kind of going away. It's not a fun thing to be considering if you're a banker these days. But what's that? Yep. I don't know. We'd like to, I think, continue to position. This is speaking just for Mercantile Bank personally. We want to use this product as a maybe it's not a loss leader, but a low price leader, getting that next generation of customers into the bank. So, got a question down here.
Get a real microphone. This is nice.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me you got a good idea, and not all the other banks are doing it. So, I mean, why so modest? Why don't you just market it and turn, chase and have a branch on every corner? Why not make it bigger?
Well, the marketing dollars, the amount of money we've spent marketing is actually maybe more than what we've spent on launching the service. I shouldn't probably say that aloud, but. Market is expensive. Geez, we've done a lot of guerrilla marketing, kind of man on the street kind of things, and utilizing as much free local PR and publicity as we can. I've been on radio shows, trying to promote this and just trying to get out there as much as we can. Like Dan, I think you said, most of these P2P transactions are happening very locally. So for us, it's easier. We don't have to target a big large area. So as much as we can do in our concentrated area, we're hoping it pays dividends. And like I said, the more we get customers using the service, it sells itself hopefully. And if we get a good uplift in that next generation, hopefully they'll sell each other. The social media aspect of it, friends selling friends that we heard this morning, I think that was a line that I heard this morning that I think the Facebook COO came up and said, that's what we're getting to. Friends are selling to friends. It's not the masses selling to or convincing people to use something. It's friends. So,
no, it's great. I mean, most people are using technology. Many banks are using technology from the 70s, and you're an innovator. And I sure hope you guys do well because I think it's good.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
One other thing I'd add, it's interesting. I think what we found is this product kind of sells itself the way that John's been marketing it. Email, the way that P2P works through this process, it's very, very viral. So PayPal's open rates on these send money emails are in the really the high 90s. So if you get an email from someone that says you've gotten money, chances are you're going to open it, and every time that recipient opens it, they basically see an advertisement from John's bank.
It was interesting. One of the quotes I had up there was one of the girls we had at GVSU, a local university. When I sent her the money, she was at orientation. Immediately, she jumped on Twitter when she got back to her dorm room, and our social media person that kind of watched that stuff, she was kind of emailing me stuff when we were at the orientation. And she said, "Yeah, wow, this guy from Mercantile Bank, just gave me, $10." There were 3 girls sitting there, And then they all started getting into a Twitter argument about, well, that money was supposed to go to all three of us, so we should go out to dinner tonight. And they were all talking about Mercantile Bank and this P2P service. It was just interesting to see how that plays out in a social media channel. So, any more questions? Again, if anyone wants to see a demo, stop by. We'll be happy to do one. And thank you.